Hello everyone, good evening. This is Dr. Mohamed ElRouby. Today we're going to have a very interesting session about the 8 strategic planning tools that every business professionals should learn. We're going to cover very interesting topics, very interesting tools, and I'm sure we're going to have very interesting discussions as well. Please feel free to drop any questions during our masterclass today in the chat box or under the Q&A box, and we're gonna answer all of your questions for today. Let me start by sharing my screen and introduce myself quickly. I'm Dr. Mohamed ElRouby. I'm a global finance and strategy leader with more than 24 years of experience in global multinational companies like Johnson Johnson, Novartis, Takeda, Allergan, and Energizer. I handled multiple international senior roles across Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, Europe, and US. I'm an international finance speaker and author. I received the award of Best FP&A in the Middle East in 2024, one of the top 10 CFOs in Asia, global 200 power leaders. I'm certified CIMA from UK, certified CIFPA from France, certified FP&A from US, certified strategy and competitive analysis, also certified OKR, and I hold doctor's degree in management. My thesis was about how to use AI in finance. So today we're gonna learn 8 essential tools for strategic planning. We're gonna learn how to assess organizations before formulating strategies, how to assess our companies, how to assess our markets, how to assess our external factors. We're gonna learn very, very important topics about the most essential tools for strategic planning. These are the tools that we're gonna learn for today. We're gonna learn PESTEL analysis. We're gonna learn Porter 5 forces, stakeholders analysis, value chain analysis, McKinsey 7S, business model canvas, BCG Matrix, and SWOT analysis. So I'm sure by the end of today, you're gonna learn these 8 essentials tools, and which can help you to formulate a very strong strategy in your organization. Let's start with the first tool, PESTEL analysis. Why we need PESTEL analysis? PESTEL analysis, first of all, we have to learn PESTEL analysis stands for what? PESTEL analysis is about analyzing 6 important external factors that impact your business. So we have to learn these 6 elements. Number 1, political. Before I build any strategy, any long-range plans, I have to assess, is there any political impact in my organization? Do I expect any change in the, in the hierarchy of my country? Do I expect any political unrest, any geopolitical situation around our country, around our business that can impact our business? Is there any, political conflicts between our country and the neighbors that might impact our business? Is there any political change that I expect? Maybe the president will be changed. Maybe next year there is elections. Maybe in the coming couple of years there is a big change in the regime. So these kinds of political situation I have to analyze before I invest in a new market or in any geographical expansion. Even before I start my strategy, I have to assess all the political dynamics that could impact my organization. The second important external factor is the economic situation. What is the impact of the inflation rate, interest rate, GDP, exchange rate, currency devaluation, currency appreciation, increase in oil price? All of these impacts, economic impacts that could impact my business. Can you imagine that someone build assumptions for the next year strategic next 3 years or 5 years strategic plans without considering the economic situation? How can I build a strategy without assessing the impact of the inflation, the impact of currency, the impact of interest rate? All of these dynamics could impact my business. Number three, social. Sometimes there is change in the culture inside our society, inside our country, maybe a new trends, new dynamics in our, social demographics inside our country, inside our geographical area that could impact my products, could impact my service, could impact many things in my organization that could impact my company, right? Number four, technology. Is there any change in the technology? Do I see that AI could impact my business? Do I see any new trends in technology that one of my competitors could introduce to the market and can steal market share from my company? So technology is something very important before I formulate any strategy. Also, if you have a strategy to have a geographical expansion, and maybe your service or your product is depending heavily on technology, can you imagine that you invest in a new market or a new geographical expansion without testing the technology's capabilities of these countries, right? If you're gonna use e-commerce or something depending heavily on technology, how can I invest or put a strategy without testing the technology's capabilities in that country, right? So technology is something very, very important I have to assess before formulating any strategic plans. Environmental. Many organizations put a plans to open a new manufacturing site here and there without considering that the impact of environmental. I know in some countries there is they are prohibiting producing, for example, cement or any things that could impact the environment, right? What about the impact of the carbon emission or whatever, something like that? Also legal. How can I build a strategy without considering all the legal aspects or all the regulations inside the country or the new laws? Maybe there is a new law that could impact my staff, right? As you see, for example, in Saudi Arabia, Saudization could impact the mix of your staff, right? Maybe in another country that they can open or encourage expats to enter the country, right? So maybe if you are working in pharmaceutical companies, there is maybe some regulations that could impact, the pricing of your product. So I have to study very well all the legal aspects before formulating any strategy. So again, PESTEL analysis, one of the most essential analysis that I have to conduct before formulating any strategy for my company. I have to assess the political impact, economical impact, social, technology, environmental, and legal. This is called PESTEL analysis. So this tool can help us definitely to build an accurate plans for any geographical expansion or entering new markets, for our 3 to 5 strategic plans, for building scenario planning, scenario analysis, evaluating market attractiveness. All of these questions could be answered through the PESTEL analysis. So I hope we could explain the first tool, which is called PESTEL analysis. Please feel free to drop your questions during our webinar, and we're gonna answer all of them at the end of today. The second tool is called Porter's 5 Forces. What does it mean by Porter 5 Forces? Porter 5 Forces is another tool that also we use to assess the external factors. But we are not talking about macroeconomy, we are talking about microeconomy. PESTEL analysis analyze our macroeconomy, which is the political situation, the economical situation, all the big picture, all the external factors that impacts our business. Porter 5 Forces analyzing the microeconomy, which means our industry, our market, our competitors. This is how we're gonna analyze, which is the use of Porter's 5 Forces. Porter 5 Forces consist of 5 key elements: threat of new entrants, any expectation of new entrants or entrance of any new competitors. For example, can you imagine that I build a strategy or strategic plans and I expected revenue in the coming 3 years or 5 years by X amount without considering entering a new an entrance of a new competitors, can you imagine that I can build? Sorry, 1 second. Something happened. Can you imagine that I build a strategy without considering that might be a new competitor that could impact my pricing, that could impact my services, that could steal from my market share? So this is one of the key things that I have to consider before building any strategic plans. Number two, rivalry or the existing competitors. The first one, we talked about the expectation of new entrants or a new competitor. The second factor that I have to consider before building my strategy or building my long-range plans or strategic plans is about our existing competitors. Do I expect any of them could, enter new technology, any new, benefits in their services, any new features, any new lines, any new products, any new innovative products? All of that I have to study before building any strategic plans. Bargaining powers of buyers. This is also something very important to be considered. What about the power of buyers? What does it mean by buyers? It means our customers. In some organizations and in some industries, buyers has a very strong influence, in our, market. For example, people who are working in airlines. Airlines, there are very, very, wide range of airlines and very wide range of suppliers that could, providing a services for airline service, right? At that time, customer has a very strong power, right? I can choose this airlines. No, I would like I can choose this one. I can choose that one. So there is a variety. So the buyers has a very strong power, in their in their decision making, which could impact also my strategy. Okay, bargaining power of suppliers. We saw in some countries that the supplier also are dominant the market, so they have the upper hand, so they can increase prices without, no one could influence them. They could make us, uh, reducing their supplies. We don't have any power to control them, right? So again, in some industries, for example, in some countries, I saw the in the dairy industry or the, milk productions or the all of this stuff. I saw in some countries there is only one or two suppliers of milk, for example, in the dairy industry, right? Even airlines also, we have only two or three big player, right? Boeing and Airbus. So they have a very, bargaining power, right? Also, bargaining power of, again, bargaining power of customers. If you know, for example, the well-known, retail chain in the US, which is Walmart, right? They have a very, very strong power, as a customer, right? So they can tell if any supplier want to put their goods inside our stores, they have to pay us a shelf space. They have to pay us entrance fees. They have to pay us front margin, back margin, because they have a power. This is a very important factor that I have to consider. Also, threat of substitute. Maybe I'm selling soft drinks, for example, and I see there is a trend that people are, tend to use healthy drinks, fresh juices. This is a threat of substitutes. So this substitutes of my product could, take part of my market share. So all of these powers I have to consider, guys, before building any strategic plans, any strategy. Threats of new entrants, any expectation of new competitors that could impact my business, the current competitors, if any of them will, you know, introduce new technology, new innovative products, reducing prices, making big promotions. This is something I have to consider. Bargaining power of buyers, how can I deal with that? Bargaining power of suppliers and threat of substitutes. So Porter 5 forces also is one of the key tools that we have to use during our strategic plan. When should we use Porter 5 forces? To assess entering new, assessing new industry, entering new markets, understanding the margin pressure by suppliers or by customers, explaining profitability differences, designing competitive strategy, preparing investment decision. All of these questions could be answered through building our Porter 5 forces model and making that external analysis. I hope also we could explain simply Porter 5 forces, which is about our microeconomy and how to consider all of these 5 forces. The third tool is about stakeholders analysis. What does it mean by stakeholders analysis? Before building any strategy, I have to analyze all the people, all the organizations who could influence our organization. So these stakeholders could be external partners or it could be internal partners, right? Stakeholders like what? Any organization. Who are the stakeholders? Could be the investors, could be the lenders, could be the government, could be the governmental authorities, right? Could be the employees, could be the suppliers, could be the customers, could be the key accounts, could be all of these people are considered as stakeholders, okay? Anyone has benefits, anyone has relationships with our company. Before building any strategy, I have to think how to deal with all of these stakeholders. Shall I give them all of them same efforts, same focus, or each one has a different, way of focus, different ways of giving attentions. This is why we have to build this stakeholders analysis. There are 4 types of stakeholders. Let's start with the top left one. People or organizations that has high power and high interest. Wow, this is the most important things. People has high power and high interest. Like what? For example, if we have one important customer that generates more than 50% of our business or 40% of our revenue, this is something very important. This person, I have to give them very, very, close, build with them very close relationships, give them full attention, full due care, right? Maybe in some organization, there is someone has a very strong, influence on decision making in our, industry. Maybe if you are working, for example, in pharmaceutical industry, the head of, Ministry of Health or the head of, the person who has the authority that can approve, products or medicines that can increase the price or reduce the price. This person, I have to give them very, very, important relationships. I have to give them full due care because this is very, very important people for us who has high power and high interest in our organization. There is some people has high power but low interest. This person also or this organization, for example, like who? Maybe the head of, the ministry of finance, ministry of investment. Yes, this person has a very high power, right? Because he could, introduce a new laws or a new regulations that could impact dramatically, our business, right? But they don't have very focus on our organization because they are dealing maybe with thousands of organizations. So they have low interest in my organization, but they have very high power. How can I deal with these people? I have to keep them satisfied, keep them, very happy. I cannot just, deal with them by just sending emails or whatever. No, these people I have to keep them satisfied, give them, full attention as well, but not like high power, high interest. Then I have some people or some organizations that has low power but high interest. Like what? Like our employees. Definitely they have high interest in our organization because they are employees in our organization, but they don't have very high power. They cannot, for example, change regulations or reduce demand or whatever. But I have to keep them informed, share with them communication, like town hall, sending emails. So I have to give them also a kind of attention, but definitely not like the high power, high interest. Okay. The last group who are the people who are low power, low interest. What should I give them? Just very limited, very limited attention. Maybe just, let them know the news in the public, maybe in the news. That's all. So we have as a company, before setting any strategy, we have to think, how can we deal with each type of these groups? How can we allocate our attention, our strategy, our focus, our efforts? So we cannot deal with all of these, stakeholders equally, right? This is why we have to focus on analyzing our stakeholders to allocate our resources, our attention, our focus based on their power, their interest in our organization. Any question from anyone? Please feel free to drop questions in the chat box or in the Q&A, and we will answer them at the end of our masterclass. The tool number 4 is called value chain analysis. What does it mean by value chain analysis? This is a tool that analyzing all of our activities, starting from getting the input to start our value creation until delivering the output. So let's say we are a company. So we have to, for example, let's say you are a manufacturing company, right? So we have inbound logistics. We get raw materials. We get all the inputs that needed to produce our goods or our services. And then we have our operation, right? Maybe you are manufacturing goods. Maybe you are providing services. So we have our operations, right? Then we have to deliver these types of products to our customer. So it's called outbound logistics, correct? Then we have to distribute these products, and we have to make marketing and sales to promote our products and sell it to our potential customers, right? Then sometimes we have also after sales, the people who are take care of the customers, ensuring that they are getting the right service, right products. If they have any claims, any complaint, they have to handle them and make them happy, right? So this is the flow of any organization, right? We have input, operations, marketing, sales, and delivering the service to our customers, right? At the same time, we have support functions, right? Like finance, like infrastructure, IT, digital, technology, human resources, procurement. These support functions, these are the functions that supporting the front or the operational functions, right? So before formulating any strategy, I have to analyze every step in this, process. Inbound logistics, operations, outbound marketing, sales, services. Why should I analyze this value chain analysis? There are many benefits of analyzing this value chain analysis. Number one, I could find opportunities to improve my services to give more value to our customers, right? I could find some opportunities to reduce the production cost. So I could reduce cost and increase the value of my company, right? I could find opportunity to reduce the delivery cost. I could find opportunities to improve the quality of my raw materials. So before setting any strategic plans, you have to analyze every single step in the process of your, products delivery or service delivery, one by one, starting from the input until operations. How can we work more efficient to reduce cost and increase quality? How can we deliver better value to our customers? How can we make our customer happy? How can we work more efficient through the finance function, through the IT function, through HR to hire the right people? So before setting any strategy, you have to analyze each step of them and get the maximum of each one of these steps. Okay, this is called a value chain analysis. What are the benefits of value chain analysis? Improving profitability. As I said, we can find opportunities to reduce cost. We can find opportunities to maximize revenue through giving our customers more value, better services, innovative products, innovative services, right? Improving customer experience, building competitive advantage. All of that could be found where? In the value chain analysis. When I analyze my production plans, when I analyze our customer service process, when I analyze our distribution channels, when I analyze my infrastructure, all of this stuff could help me to improve my products, services, reduce cost, improve profitability. Any questions so far? Please feel free to drop your question in the chat box. I see two questions. Okay. I found a question from Omar Jafar. He's asking about in the Porter five forces, what is the differences between new entrants and substitutes? That's a very good question, Omar. New entrants mean expectation of new competitors. Okay, so I have to use my marketing team to and our sales team and people who are working in the ground to get something called market intelligence. Guys, did you hear any news about new competitors? Because new competitors could steal from my market share, right? These new competitors could, you know, take me completely out of the market, right? These new competitors could reduce the prices in the market, right? So I have to be very focused and aware about any potential new entrants or a new competitors. Okay. Substitutes means it doesn't mean a new competitors or a new entrance. Substitutes means let's say you are selling coffee, okay, just coffee. Maybe there is a trend that people might move from coffee to tea. This is substitutes, right? Maybe if you are selling sugar, maybe people are moving from the regular sugar to diet sugar. This is called substitute. So people can, replace your product with another substitute. Okay? This is the difference. Okay? Yeah. Another question from Mohammed ElRouby. He's asking about there is a mix between value chain and supply chain. Yeah, this is a good question. Value chain is the whole or the overall value chain inside your organization. It's not only about supply chain. Supply chain is part of the value chain, but the value chain includes everything, all the process, starting from getting the raw materials until selling the goods to your customer and making them happy and giving them a full customer service. Okay, includes also all the operational process, all the delivery process, all the distribution process, all the manufacturing process. Okay, so value chain is the bigger, picture. Supply chain is part of the value chain. Okay, another question. The name is not appear. In real world consulting project, how do we integrate insights from business model canvas with value chain? That's a very good question. I'm going to answer it in the coming few slides. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, now we need to talk about the tool number 5, McKinsey 7S. What does it mean by McKinsey 7S? This is a very important tool to analyze our company internally. So in the previous tools, we talked about PESTEL Analysis, which analyze the external environment or the macroeconomy. Porter five forces, also it's external environment, but microeconomy, our market, our industry. We talked about stakeholders analysis, which also, analyzing our stakeholders, some of them internal, some of them external. But McKinsey 7S is only about our internal strengths, internal weaknesses, analyzing our company from inside. Okay, so McKinsey 7S is talked about 7S. Some of them we call them hard elements, some of them we call them soft elements. Hard elements like what? Strategy, structure, systems. We have to analyze the current strategy in the company. Is it succeeded or not? Is it a successful strategy or not? Right? Skills. Skills means it's not skills of people. Skills means the skills of the organization. It means the competitive advantage of the organization, the muscles of the organization, the strengths of the organization. This means by skills. Okay. Structure is the organizational structure. The organizational chart is the right one. Is it efficient? Is it the right organization that could deliver the best value to the organization or not? Okay. Systems means, do we have the right systems, right process, right infrastructure, right technology or not? Style means the culture. The culture of the The style means the management style. Is it a very tough management, very aggressive management, or very relaxed management? Is it a conservative management or a risk taker management? The style of the management, the style of the decision makers. Okay, staff. Do we have the right staff, the right people, the right skilled people, or not? Do we attract the best talent in the market or not? Do we have a good talents or not? So, and shared values. Shared values mean the culture of the organization, the values that all the people inside the organization believe in it. Okay. So when you analyze these 7 steps, you have to say, yes, I have the right setup to execute or implement my strategy. Or you can say, no, I don't have the right people to execute my strategy, right? I don't have the right system. I don't have the right infrastructure to execute my strategy. So you have to analyze your company or your organization from inside using this 5S to ensure you have the right enablers, the right tools, the right people, the right strategy, the right culture to execute your strategy. Without analyzing this stuff, maybe you have a very nice strategy, put it in the PowerPoint. Even if you hire a very good consulting company, built for you a very good strategy. But when you start to execute, you struggle. Why? Because I have issue in my stuff. I have issue in my culture. I have issue in the systems. I have issue in the organizational structure. So you have to focus on analyzing all of these capabilities to ensure you have the right capabilities inside the organization before you execute for a new strategy. So McKinsey 7S is very important to answer this question, right? We use it before we implement a new strategy. Do we have the right capabilities, the right people, the right system, the right culture, or not? Also, we need to use McKinsey 7S before you make any transformation. Do you expect a successful transformation or not, right? There is structure in your organization to integrate in merger and acquisition. If I have to acquire a new company, I have to analyze this company. Am I acquiring a company that has a strong team, strong people, strong system or not? All of these questions could be answered through the McKinsey 7S. It's a very, very powerful tool, guys, to analyze companies internally before you execute new strategy, new acquisitions. This is a very good diagnosis tool to analyze your organization internally. We have some new question. Okay. Carlos is asking about what is the difference between McKinsey 7S and SWOT analysis. Okay. McKinsey 7S is analyzing your company only internally. Okay. Only internally. My staff, my culture, my structure. So it's only about your internal analysis. But SWOT analysis, no, it's wider. SWOT analysis includes the strengths and weaknesses of your organization. And also it includes opportunities and the threats, which are the external factors, right? So SWOT analysis, in a nutshell, Carlos, is the outcome or a summary of all the analysis we're gonna mention today. Got my point? So PESTEL analysis, portfolio forces, McKinsey, all of these analysis, we can summarize them in which tool? SWOT analysis. This is a conclusion of all the internal and external analysis. Did I answer your question, Carlos? Okay. Mohammed is asking also about the best practice of using all of these tools. We're gonna answer your question at the end of our session today. Okay. So we talked about, let's review quickly which tool we talked about. So we covered PESTEL analysis, how to analyze your macro economy, your external factors, political situation, economical situation, social, technology, environmental, legal, right? The big picture. Then we went to the smaller picture, which is the microeconomy, the industry, the market, using the Porter 5 forces, the power of customers, power of suppliers, power of entrants, new entrants, power of existing competitors, power of substitutes, right? We talked about stakeholders analysis, how to deal with each type of stakeholders, how to deal with investors, how to deal with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Investment, value chain analysis, how to analyze your value chain, starting from getting the raw materials until you deliver the services to your customers. And last one we talked about, which is McKinsey 7S, how to analyze your company internally. What are the key, strengths and weakness of your company from inside, right? What is the strategy inside my organization? Do we have the right systems or not? Do you have the right people or not? Do you have the right culture or not? So I check or make a full diagnosis of my company before I execute a strategy. Maybe I have a very good strategy, but I don't have the right people to implement it, right? Maybe I have a good strategy, but I don't have the right system to do it. Maybe I have a good strategy, but the culture is against my strategy, okay? So this is McKinsey 7S. Now we're gonna move to the next tool, which is called Business Model 9 Canvas. Some of you was asking about this tool. 7S9 Canvas is about analyzing the whole, organization from different perspective. How we create value and how we, operate to deliver that value, right? So in the 9 Canvas, I have to analyze what are our key resources, okay, to deliver our services or to deliver our products, right? Channels where we distribute our goods. Do we distribute it in online or traditional trade or through retail or through e-commerce or through what or through export shipments or whatever, right? So I have to know where I distribute my channels. Cost structures. What are our key cost drivers, right? Some companies are very heavy, in marketing and promotion spend. Some companies are very heavy in headcount or personnel cost. So I have to understand very well the cost structure of any organization, right? Customer relationships. How is our relationships with our customers? Key activities. What are our key activities to deliver value? Company like Apple, for example, what are their key activities? R&D, right? They are innovating new mobiles, new technologies, new things, right? Key activities, they are promoting branding, right? Also, value proposition. What are our key competitive advantage? Why customer buy from us, not from the other competitors? Because we have something different, something value that they are getting from us versus others, okay? Customer segments. Are we selling our goods or are we providing our service to the mass market? If you are selling, like, for example, water, or a company like PepsiCo or Coca-Cola or whatever, they are definitely providing to the mass market, right? Or McDonald's or whatever. All of these companies, they are targeting what? Mass market, right? But some companies also targeting only niche markets, right? If you are selling, for example, Rolls-Royce cars or Rolex watches or whatever, they are targeting very niche segment, right? So this is something I have to analyze when I have to make a full analysis of any company, right? So we usually split this 9 canvas into 2 parts, okay? Our cash generation and our cash consumption, right? Key activities, key resources, channels, cost structure are the things that are consuming cash to produce a value. So produce a value through what? Through our revenue streams, customer segments, value proposition, and key partnerships. So this 9 canvas can summarize for you the whole business model for any company in one slide. Can you imagine, guys? One slide, I can know what are the key partners for this company, what are the key activities, key resources, key channels where we distribute our goods or services, our revenue streams, our revenue drivers, cost drivers, customer segment. So in one tool, you can have a full picture of any organization. Okay? So how to use this 9 canvas? It's very good to redesigning your business model, right? Reviewing your existing model, launching a new product, entering a new markets, building a digital platform. All of that could be supported by having the proper business 9 canvas. Moving to the tool number 7, BCG Matrix. I believe most of you are familiar with this matrix, and this is one of a very well-known matrix that's used by strategists, used by finance, used by marketeer for sure. It's about analyzing our portfolio, our categories, our products, and we usually split it into 4 quadrants or 4 boxes. Okay, stars, cash cows, question marks, and dogs. How it works? We usually have 2 axes. Okay, the axis which is showing the market growth, the total market growth, and the second one is about the relative market share. So if you have a product that has a high market share in a fast growing market, oh, that's amazing, right? The market is growing very well and we have a very good market share. So that's amazing. This is why we call it stars. So when I analyze my products or my services or my portfolio, and I see some products or some services I provide is in the stars. These products or these services has a very high market share and in a very high growth market. That's amazing, right? So we call it stars. Definitely these stars we have to invest. If I have to think about in my strategy, where should I allocate my money? For sure, number 1 priority are the stars, right? The second one is called cash cow. When I have a big market share, but the market is not growing. We are already have a very good market share, but market is almost stable or growing very slowly. Okay, but these products are a cash cow. What does mean by cash cow? Because we have a very good market share. So every year we have a good cash generated from these products. Yes, these products are not growing very fast, but they are generating very good cash, right? So what should we have is to protect these products and harvest the cash, right? Because we need this cash to invest that in the other segments or other in the stars and the other portfolio, right? Then we have question mark. What does it mean by question mark? The market is growing very fast, but we have a small market share. So it's a question mark. The market is very potential, it's growing, but we have a small market share. So what should we do? We can selectively invest or exist. Yes, this product, maybe we can invest more because this market is potential. So let's invest in it because there's a potential and we can grow this product. Or you can say, no, there is no way. We have a very small market share, although the market is growing, but there is no hope to grow more. So I can maybe decide to exit. Okay. The last category is dogs. What does it mean by dogs? Very small market share, very low market share in a low growth market. So the market is not growing well, maybe slightly growth or maybe declining or maybe stable. And I have a very small market share. So in this case, most of cases, either to try to fix it, fix means try to grow this product or divest or discontinue. No, let's sell this business unit. Let's divest this product. Let's discontinue this product because it's a low market share and low growth market. Okay, so this metric is very, very important for us before we build a strategy because we have to think where should we invest, where should we reallocate our resources, right? So this metrics also is very important to assess assess our portfolio, assess our categories, assess our services. Okay, this called BCG Matrix. So it's very important to allocate capital, allocate resources, prioritize our business units or our categories because I say, yeah, the stars, definitely I have to give them more attention, more focus, more resources. And also it's very important also to analyze. If you are gonna acquire a new company or enter a new market, you have to make this, assessment to see if there is attractiveness of some portfolio or some categories or not. Last but not least, SWOT analysis. Guys, I see some people when they start a strategy start with SWOT analysis. The answer is no. SWOT analysis is the outcomes of all of your analysis. I consider it as a summary of all the other analysis. When I analyze my external factors, internal factors, stakeholders, value chain analysis, when I analyze all of these tools, analyze all of these drivers, I should summarize them in the SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis should be the outcomes of all of these analysis. SWOT analysis is split between two segments, internal factors and external factors. Internal means inside our organization. What are our key strengths in our organization? What are our key weaknesses in our organization? Okay. Strengths means maybe after we built our McKinsey 7S value chain analysis, we found strengths in our organization. Maybe you have a very good people, very strong system, very good culture. All of our strengths, we should summarize and put it in the SWOT analysis under strengths. Okay. Weaknesses, again, after McKinsey 7S and after value chain analysis and after multiple analysis, I see, yes, we have a weaknesses. We don't have a capable people, or we have a high turnover people. Maybe we don't have a good system. Maybe we don't have a good infrastructure. We don't have a good technology. Okay, we have a bad culture. We have, we are not a good place to work. All of this should be reported under weaknesses. Okay, then we have opportunities. What does it mean by opportunities? It means the external opportunities. Maybe there is opportunity that there is a new segment we can enter in it. There is a new market that we can expand our business. There is a new geographical expansion. There is opportunity that the company or the country might invest in our segment, right? Or our industry. Maybe if you are working in the healthcare industry and we see in the vision of our country, Vision 2030, for example, the government decided to invest heavily in the healthcare sector, and I'm working in the healthcare sector. So there is opportunity to get more business, right? Maybe you are working in educational sector, right? And the government put a big resources behind it to, invest in the education. So there is opportunities. Maybe our competitor might be, exit the market. So there is opportunity. So this opportunity is external the external opportunities, okay? Threats means all the external threats, like what? External risks, like what? Maybe, inflation rate, maybe political situation, maybe currency devaluation, maybe all the threats that I might see in the future. I have to think about how to deal with that, okay? This is how I summarize all the situational analysis under the SWOT analysis. So we received many questions. Okay. Omar said, to what extent the firm should invest in systems? Okay, that's a very good question, Omar. To what extent? The answer is, what do we need? Because it's not just about trend. I see some companies say, yeah, let's invest in AI, let's invest in fully automation, let's invest in power apps. It's not about just let's follow the trend. I have to invest in what I need as an organization. When I see a gap, okay, where I want to improve my efficiency, okay, this is where I invest in the systems. So there is no limit. It depends on my needs and the business needs and my objectives, okay? But it's not just to invest for the sake of investing because it's a trend. I see some, CEOs and CFOs asking me, I need to invest in AI. I need to implement AI in my companies. It's not just like that, I have to see where are the gaps, where are the areas that has, too much errors, where are the areas that has too much, manual works, and there is big opportunity to automate this process and reduce, this heavy manual work. So it depends. So the answer is it depends on the need of the organization. Okay. Mohammed is asking in light how AI can help in using these tools. This is a big, big help definitely of AI in these tools. Can help you in research, in giving you a competitive analysis, giving you insights about your competitors, about your industry, about your expectation of the economic indicators. For sure, AI can help you a lot in running these tools. Okay, especially for example, something like PESTEL Analysis, but definitely you have to use the right source, okay? Because if you let it just, when you said AI, it's not just any AI, right? Because sometimes, as you know, AI sometimes they invent things from or a fake news or unreliable news, right? When I say using AI along with using a trusted source, right? So you can create, for example, AI agent to make for you a competitive analysis and tell the AI, please use only these sources, these trusted source. So it can help you a lot to build a competitive analysis, right? I can use AI to run scenarios for me. I can use AI to make scenario planning for me, right? I can use AI to help me to match the SWOT analysis, strengths with how can I use strengths to mitigate weaknesses or threats or whatever, right? So AI definitely is a big help for us in this analysis. McKinsey 7S in the value chain analysis, AI can help me a lot to analyze my cost items, my revenue drivers, my cost drivers, propose for me more efficient process. So AI for sure can help you a lot in this area. Okay. Yes, a very good point, Yusuf. You talked about the uncertainty and the volatility and VUCA in our environment. Definitely, these tools to help us not to 100% mitigate all of this risk, but it help us to assess and find better opportunities. See how can we reallocate our resources? How can we mitigate our risks? How can we materialize opportunities? So it can help us to make better decision making. Okay, so I agree with you 100%, Yusuf. Yes, again, Mohammed, yes. In this VUCA environment, as I said, definitely you have to analyze, you have to use different ways, right? Number one, for sure, I can leverage AI to analyze all of this big data, analyze, the external factors, internal factors, competition, economic situation, expectation of oil prices, all of these, changes. Definitely, AI can help me for this big data to have better prediction, better forecast, better risk management for sure, Yes, nine building blocks is same as a business model canvas. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, they are the same. Yes. Okay. Another question from Primos. Can outsourcing certain part of the value chain weaken a company's competitive advantage? Yes, definitely. Outsourcing it depends. If you have outsourcing from a reliable supplier or vendor, definitely it could be a good competitive advantage because you get a service. Like let's say I'm outsourcing my accounting function. If the provider is very reliable and give me a very high quality, definitely it can help me to reduce my cost. Especially the outsourcing could be less cost than having in-house team. But the opposite case, as you said, could be weakness if the outsourcing is not a reliable supplier or a reliable vendor. So it could make for me a lot of issues as well. Okay. Yeah, Yahya Said asking, how could we give us example of how we could assign products in BCG? Okay, so Yahya, in the BCG, you have to look at your portfolio. Okay, let's say I have 10 products. Okay, you have to get two sources of information. Okay, the market share of these products, which is easily just get your revenue divided by total market revenue or total market size. Okay, so I can get the market share of my products, okay, against the competitors. Okay, then market growth, I should get some insights. There are some publications, some subscription reports, market research about market growth. Okay, is the market, total market is growing or not? Maybe if you are working in car manufacturing, is the car in vehicle industry is growing or not? I'm working in technology, is the technology industry is growing or not? So the market growth and the market share. Okay, let's say I have a product that has 70% market share and the market is growing double digit. This is should for sure should be under stars, right? If I have a product that has 50 or 60% market share, big market share, and the market is just stable or just growing by 1 or 2%, should be under cash cow, right? If I have a product that has 2% or 5% market share and the market is declining, for sure this under dogs, right? Question mark, the market is growing very fast, double digit or strong, single digit, but my market share is very small, so I have to assign it under question marks. Okay, so SWOT analysis is summarizing all of our analysis under strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. There is something called TOWs. What does it mean by TOWs? Means when we make the matching, because SWOT analysis is not the end goal. I'm just classifying, what are my key strengths, internal weaknesses, opportunity, threats. But the next step is to see how can I use strengths to materialize opportunities, capitalize on opportunities. How can I use strengths to reduce threats, right? So I can use strengths to capture opportunities, right? Or to capitalize on opportunities or materialize opportunities, right? I can use strengths to reduce threats, right? I can reduce weaknesses and avoid threats. I can fix weaknesses to capture opportunities. So this is how I use SWOT analysis. It's not just about classification. No, I should see what are my key strengths that can I use in getting capitalized opportunity. For example, maybe one of my key strengths is I have a very good cash flow. I have a very good cash fund. Okay, so I can use that in opportunities. I found opportunities that I can acquire or having a good, attractive merger and acquisition opportunity, right? So I can use my cash under strengths to get opportunity of acquiring a new company, right? Something like that. Okay. So these are the tools that we discussed today. PESTEL analysis answers the question of what is it changing in our external environment. Porter 5 forces, is the industry attractive or not? Stakeholders analysis, who can influence our strategy? Value chain analysis, where do we create or lose value? McKinsey 7S, are we internally aligned to execute? Do we have the right people, right capabilities or not? Business model canvas, how does the business make money? BCG Matrix, about how can we allocate resources based on the potentiality of our products. And last but not least, SWOT analysis, what are our main strategic choices? With that, we have to recommend our recommended strategic planning sequence: external analysis using PESTEL analysis, industry lens using Porter 5 forces, stakeholders analysis to make expectation and influence, value chain analysis assessment, and organizational fit, our capabilities, using McKinsey 7S. So, guys, this is the journey of strategic plan. Analyze using PESTEL 5 forces, stakeholders analysis, value chain. Align your strategy and execution with your key strengths and using McKinsey 7S business model canvas, and decide where should I allocate my resources, where should I invest, where should I go in the future through BCG Matrix and SWOT analysis. With that, I would like to answer if anyone has any questions. And I would like also to announce a very good news that Hoft Academy signed a partnership with the IMA to provide the Certified Strategy and Competitive Analysis certificates. This certificate is very, very important for anyone who wants to move to the managerial level, C levels, how to learn strategy from A to Z. This is very, very good certificates. One exam, 60 multiple choice question, and one case study. Very, strong and recognized strategy by one of the biggest institute in the US. If anyone interested to take this program, we're gonna start the new round next month. So please scan the code and our team will reach out to you and give you all the details about this certificates. So please feel free to scan the code and our team will give you all the details about the certified strategy and competitive analysis endorsed by and approved by the IMA, Institute of Management Accounting in the US. Let me answer some questions. I see many questions. Yeah, Khalid Noor is asking very good question. After all of this analysis, how do we, set financial and sales targets? As we, explained, Khalid, at the end of your analysis, you have to see, build your SWOT analysis and your TWAS, see how can I use, strengths to, capitalize on or capture opportunities, how can I mitigate risks, how can I do that based on BCG analysis, where should I allocate my resources. So the whole combination of this analysis can help you to see the right directions, the right allocation of resources, the right, way where we invest. What is the best AI tool when it comes to strategic planning? Okay. For strategic planning, there are many tools because it depends on which, phase or which part of the strategic planning. Do you need a tool to analyze or tool to generate for you, like the right KPIs or the right OKRs or whatever? So it depends. But nowadays, if you are talking about searching, I believe definitely Gemini is very good for search, right? Because Gemini is depending on Google. Google is one of the definitely best search engines. So for searching, Gemini is very good. Now Claude is amazing in everything. Now Claude is very fast versus all the other tools. To generate ideas or creative ideas or something like that, I believe Claude and GPT are very good in giving you strategic directions, strategic choices to generate for you what are the right KPIs I should select for these strategic goals. I believe also GPTs and Claude are very good in this area. So there is no, one tool can help you for every step in the strategic planning, but definitely Claude now is, I believe, one of the most helpful tools. But as I said, also you can use Gemini in research. You can use GPT for creative thinking and create for you, some strategic choice. Okay. Yes, practical. Is there any practical examples available to help applying these 8 tools in the F&B industry? Definitely you can research, for many best practices in this area, and at the same time also, in our, certificate CSCA, we're gonna have different case studies so we can also implement. Okay. Very good question from Primus about why do organizations fail even after doing SWOT analysis? The answer is very clear. The execution. The issue is the execution. Many companies has very good strategy, very good PowerPoints, very good strategy, strategic goals, very good. But when it comes to execution, many things happen. Number one, maybe the capability of the organization is not ready to execute the strategy. Maybe the culture is not fits with the strategy. Maybe we need a big transformation. Maybe the strategy is not cascaded down to the last level of the organization, just the C level or the board or whatever, sit and put a very nice strategy. but the people who are executing, they have no idea. There is no alignment. Each one there have their operational goals. They have their own departmental goals. It's not linked to the strategy. So one of the key success factors to have a successful strategy is the alignment. When the company put their strategic goals, it should be cascaded down to the head of functions or head of departments. The goals of the head of department should be aligned together and aligned with the company strategy. Then, when it comes to the operational level, their targets, their goals should be also aligned with the company, the departmental strategy. So all the organization should be connected together. The strategy should be cascaded down to the lowest level of the organization, even until the employees level. I cannot put objective for my team or for each. Sure, I think some connection issues happen. Any other question from anyone? Okay. Yes, Yusuf is asking about the recording of our today's session. Yes, we're gonna have a recording of the session, and we're gonna share it on our YouTube channel within a couple of days. So within 2 days, you're gonna see the recording in our Hoft Academy YouTube channel. Okay, any other question? Yes, Primo is asking about the CSA program. CSA program is a certificate provided by the IMA. The course will takes around 3 months. So we're gonna start it in June 10th. So from June 10th until end of August, we're gonna study together all the content of the CSCA certificates, and the exam window will be in September. So the IMA offered the exam window only in two periods per year, only in September and in March. So for the people who are gonna go for the exam in September, they have to study with us the rounds which is starting in June. So if you need any help in this certificate, any more information, please scan the QR code. Let me share it again. 1 second. Let me just share it again. I believe the team put it in the chat. Yeah, so the team now put the link in the chat. So please, Primus, go the link in the chat and uh, you know go for the fill application, and people will give you all the details about the CSA certificates. The very, very power certificates covering very good, level of details about strategy, about competitive analysis, about strategic planning, about many, many things that you're gonna learn during these certificates, and it's, recognized and approved by the US IMA. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, Ahmad Imad is asking, in the startup, do we need to perform all of these analysis at the beginning and use all the tools? The answer, Imad, is some of them definitely must to have. For example, PESTEL. Can you invest in any country without analyzing the political situation, economical situation, analyzing the regulations, the laws? Can you imagine that you invested and or attract investors to in a startup and you didn't study the rules in the country or the regulations, right? Definitely, or the laws in the country. Definitely cannot be fit, right? Without understanding the consumer behaviors and demographics. So PESTEL analysis must to have. Porter 5 forces must to have, right? So there are many, many tools we discussed today. Definitely you have to use, but is it necessary to use all of them? The answer is no, not all of them, but I think some of them are must to have. Okay. Michael is asking for a role in finance controlling or finance transformation. How CSC would be help in this role? That's a very good question, Michael. The CSC is very important, especially if you are working in the role of FP&A, finance manager, finance director, CFO. Why? Because we are involved in many decision-making process during in our organization, right? During the strategic plans, who's gonna make the situation analysis is the FP&A, right? Who's gonna make a competitive analysis is the FP&A. For the strategic choices, if we have to analyze our portfolio, where should we invest? Where should we reallocate? Who's gonna make the BCG analysis and saying we have to allocate, guys, our resources behind this product. We have to reallocate our resources behind that product, that portfolio, the FP&A or finance, right? If you are working as a head of finance or a CFO, how can you help the company in strategy formulation, strategy execution, have a discussion about the strategy of the company in the board, being the right hand side to the CFO? Definitely, you need to understand strategy, right? When you challenge your marketing team, when you analyze your marketing data, you have to understand strategy, right? What does it mean by competitive analysis? How to run that stuff? How to make strategic decisions in the merger and acquisition? How to analyze your, potential acquired company? You have to know CSA. So CS is, I see it very, very important for the people who are working in the as a business partner with a commercial, with a marketing, with the CEO, with the CFO, with the chief operational officer, with the strategic plan team. You have to understand strategy. How can I make decision? How can I provide business insights without understanding strategy? How can I provide insights about our profitability, our growth, without understanding strategy? So I believe, Michael, CSA is very important certificate, especially if you are aiming to also move to a managerial level or to the C level. I hope I answered your question, Michael. Any other question from anyone? Any other questions? Okay, so with that, I would like to thank you very much for attending our master class today. We're gonna share the recording within a couple of days, and please be in touch. We're gonna share with you all the upcoming events, all the upcoming programs as well. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you in the next program. Thank you.